The two birds that took the picture out of my hand. These two birds right here.
These are indeed the two birds that snatched the picture right out of my hands and got me banned from the Salvation Army thrift store. Yes, that's the story today. How to get banned in 86th from a Salvation Army thrift store. I swear to God, it doesn't get more pathetic than this. But here's the story. Now, I'll give you a disclaimer up front. If you buy used clothes at a thrift store to resell them or to wear them, this story is useless to you. Please, move on with your life. Go on, leave, move on with your life. But if a gang of thieves ripping off non-profit corporations interests you, if that story interests you, then stick around and listen to the story, because most everybody knows the thrift stores out there, they filter the good stuff out first. But I don't think it is well known that a gang, yes, a gang that works in the back and with the people in the front, a gang is in control of the high-end stuff, including the art. Okay, so make a long story short, you buy a lot of good art at thrift stores, and the gang will come at you very quickly because you are affecting the bottom line of their loot. You are affecting their bottom line. So how do you get banned from a Salvation Army thrift store? I'm going to tell you today. But first you need a little background information on this situation. Okay, like I said, there are gangs working in the thrift stores in the back and with the people in the front. The best way to knock heads with these gangs is to buy nice art. This cuts into the gang's profit margins dramatically. They'll get the young, aggressive members of the gang working in the back. They'll get them to come out and confront you. They're told to be aggressive and rude to that customer. Be rude and aggressive to that customer. This happens in every thrift store in Las Vegas. But if you buy old clothes, you're not going to experience any of this. Like I said, if you buy old clothes to resell or wear, you would not notice anything about what I'm about ready to tell you or what I'm going to share with you. So, okay, without further ado, let me explain to you how I got banned by these two birds here.
The two birds that took the picture out of my hand. These two birds right here.
Okay, before I get to the specifics of this story, in every battle we must ask ourselves, did God bring me here to tango with these bobos, or is this something I did on my own? This is a fair question. But either way, do not explain yourself to the enemy and the multiple demons that they carry along like a heavy load on their back. We do not explain ourselves to the enemy. But when you run into demons like this, if God wants you in this battle, God will protect you, and vice versa. Okay? The demons will mock you. The demons will turn on you and attack you. The demons will try to rip your heart out. But don't feel discouraged or defeated. No, we laugh. We laugh at the demons as if they were little helpless birdies, and that's what they are. They're little helpless birds. So let's get to the specifics of the story. So I walk into this store. It's a Salvation Army thrift store on Durango in Las Vegas. It's the west side of Las Vegas on Durango. So I walk in there. I go in there quite often, as this story proceeds, you will know that I'm on an undercover mission to buy art in all the thrift stores in Vegas, but that's for another video. Anyhow, I go into these stores and I buy art. So I go in here and I see this piece of art that I think I should buy. And I'm going to buy it. The problem is I got 5 other little tiny knick-knack items I got in my hand, and I did not get a cart. And normally when I go into these places, I just buy a couple pieces of art and I leave. I don't need a cart. So I normally don't get a cart. But this time I picked up like 4 or 5 little knickknacks, and I had them there. And plus, and there's this big piece of art that I need to carry out too. So I asked this skinny white guy here. He just happened to be over there working at the shelf. I asked him. I said, "Hey, can you go get me a cart? I got this painting, or it's not even a painting. It was just a piece of artwork. I need a cart to put this art in." He said, "You just passed one over there." Basically, he told me go get it myself. He's just a rude old man. I asked him to get me a cart. He's an employee. And he says, "No, go get it yourself." So that started the situation. That escalated right there. But it didn't stop there. It wasn't good enough for him to just say no to me on getting the cart. That wasn't good enough. He then proceeds to tell me, "Well, that piece of art has to go through the back. You're not going through the front with that art." And I'm looking at him like he's crazy. I said, "This is just a piece of art. It's a frame. I'm walking out the front door with it. I got $30 in my pocket, and I'm walking out the front door with it." He says, "No, you're not. No. That art's going in the back." So there we are. 2 old white guys staring at each other, and he's confronting the customer. I'm the one with the $30 in my pocket. I'm the customer. Not only did he refuse to go get me a cart, which I understood. I said, "Okay, you don't have to help me there." But then he escalated and said, "No, you're not going out the front door with that art." He's escalating the situation. Okay? And then this big lady comes out, and she takes over. "Yeah, that piece of art's going in the back, right?" And she directed. The big lady, remember, the skinny guy is supposed to be the assistant manager, and since the manager is not there right now, the skinny white guy is supposed to be in charge. But the big lady comes out and just takes control right up the bed. "Take that piece of art in the back. Just take that piece of art in the back." So that's it. It was that simple. They took the art in the back, and I walked out the door with nothing. But I was not happy, of course. I went home and I called. It's supposed to have like this district manager, Las Vegas manager. I think his name is Jason. I called him. It took me 3 or 4 phone calls, but I finally got a hold of this guy. He claimed to be the manager of Las Vegas, told him the whole story, and he was really sweet and nice on the phone. Like, "Oh, they should have never been rude to you like this," and blah, blah, blah. And he was so nice on the phone. He said, "I'm going to call the manager." That's what Jason, I think his name is Jason. He said, "I'm going to call the manager there, Antonia, and I'm going to find out what happened and why were they rude to you." And I said, "Okay, so I'm going to go back there tomorrow, and I'd like to get an apology." He said, "Oh, sure, yeah, I'm going to talk to the manager." And so I went back the next day. And I went through that door right there, and I said, "I'd like to talk to the manager," but the manager wasn't there. Who shows up real quick are these 2 birds here. So these 2 birds, they're the ones they snatched the picture out of my hand and took it in the back. These are the 2 birds that started everything, and they come rushing to the front. And I said, "Those are the 2 birds that snatched the picture from my hands." She immediately comes up to me and says, "You're 86, get out of here." That's exactly what happened. I mean, they wanted me out of there quickly. You know what's going on in the back, okay? They're taking the nice art, they're giving it to their friends or whatever. I mean, this is so obvious. And I'm cutting into their bottom line. I'm cutting into it. And she 86'd me. It was embarrassing. Now, when we went outside, the real manager pulls up in her car. Apparently, the real manager, Antonia, she just pulls in and she parks out front, pulls in whenever she wants to. She's on her own time. And she wasn't there the day before. She came in at 1 o'clock in the afternoon this time. So anyhow, Antonia shows up when they came out barking at me and outside. See, that's the thing. They 86'd me. I said, "Are you 86'ing me?" They said, "Yeah." So I walked outside, and then they follow me outside to bark more orders at me. The big lady come out there barking at me. Yeah, I'm in charge here. Yeah. And the whole time she's barking at me, the real manager shows up. And guess what? The real manager is on their side, of course. The real manager, Antonia, is on their side. So it did not, I just left. Like I said, you do not explain yourself to the enemy. But I am on an undercover mission to find out about these gangs that are doing this stuff in the back on the high-end items. And we're going to go into this in more detail in the more videos, so stay tuned. because this story is, well, it's a Vegas story of gangs.
The two birds that took the picture out of my hands. These two birds right here.